The sound of a toy car crashing against the wall was the only alarm clock Patrick Wells ever needed these days. His 5-year-old son, Noah, had an uncanny ability to wake up at precisely 6:15 a.m. every morning, regardless of whether it was a school day or weekend. Patrick groaned, rubbing his eyes as he swung his legs over the side of his worn mattress. "Daddy, the red car won the race," Noah announced, bursting into Patrick's bedroom with the energy only a kindergartner could muster before sunrise. "That's awesome, buddy," Patrick said, forcing enthusiasm into his voice despite the exhaustion. "But remember our talk about indoor voices in the morning?" Noah's excitement dimmed slightly as he nodded. "Sorry, Daddy, but the red car is super fast." Patrick smiled, ruffling his son's sandy blonde hair. "Just like you. Now how about we get some breakfast?" Their small 2-bedroom apartment wasn't much, but Patrick had done his best to make it a home for Noah since his wife's death 3 years ago. Cancer had taken Melissa quickly, leaving Patrick to navigate single fatherhood while working as a high school English teacher. The pay barely covered their expenses, but Patrick managed by tutoring on weekends and taking odd jobs during summer breaks. In the kitchen, Patrick prepared Noah's favorite dinosaur-shaped pancakes with strawberry eyes while mentally reviewing his day. Drop Noah at school, teach 5 periods of American literature, pick up Noah, make dinner, grade papers, and then collapse into bed to do it all again tomorrow. "Daddy, can we go to the park after school?" Noah asked, maple syrup creating a sticky mustache above his upper lip. Patrick checked the weather app on his phone. "Not today, buddy. It's supposed to rain, but tomorrow looks clear." Noah's face fell momentarily before brightening again. "Then can we have a fortnight?" "Fortnight it is," Patrick promised, wiping his son's face clean. "Now let's get you dressed." "The dinosaur shirt or the rocket ship?" "Dinosaur," Noah declared, as he did every Tuesday. The morning routine flowed with practiced precision. By 7:30, they were in Patrick's 12-year-old Honda Civic, headed toward Little Explorers Elementary. Patrick's phone buzzed as they waited at a red light. A text from his friend Marcus. "Hey man, don't forget dinner tonight at 7. Already told Greg you're coming. No excuses this time." Patrick sighed. He'd forgotten about the dinner. Marcus, his college roommate and still his best friend, had been trying for months to get Patrick to socialize more. Since Melissa died, Patrick's world had narrowed to Noah and work with little room for anything else. "Can't." "No sitter," Patrick texted back one-handed while keeping his eyes on the road. The response came immediately. "Already arranged. Mrs. Chen from your building said she'd watch Noah. Said she misses him anyway." Patrick frowned. Mrs. Chen, their elderly neighbor, did adore Noah and had helped Patrick countless times when he was in a bind. But he still felt guilty using her as a babysitter. "I'll pay her," came another text from Marcus before Patrick could respond. "Fine," Patrick texted back. "Where?" Asteria Mateo. 7 p.m. Where something nice. Patrick rolled his eyes. Nice in his wardrobe meant the one dress shirt without a visible stain. After dropping Noah at school, Patrick's day unfolded as expected, teaching teenagers who were more interested in their phones than Hemingway, grabbing a quick lunch at his desk while grading quizzes, and watching the clock until dismissal. When he picked up Noah, his son was full of stories about his day, how Tyler had brought a frog to show and tell, how Miss Peterson had taught them a new song about planets, and how he'd drawn a picture of their family, which was just the two of them standing in front of their apartment building. "And I used the special gold crayon for the sun," Noah explained as Patrick helped him with his seatbelt. "That sounds beautiful," Patrick said. "Did you bring it home?" Noah nodded enthusiastically, pulling a slightly crumpled paper from his backpack. The drawing showed 2 stick figures, one tall with brown hair, one small with yellow hair, holding hands under a golden sun. "That's me and you," Noah explained unnecessarily, pointing at the figures. "And that's our home." Patrick felt his heart swell. "I love it, buddy." This is going right on the refrigerator. At home, Patrick prepared a simple dinner of spaghetti and meatballs while Noah played with his Legos on the living room floor. After dinner and a bath, Patrick explained to Noah that Mrs. Chen would be watching him for a few hours. "Why can't I come?" Noah asked, his lower lip jutting out. It's a grown-up dinner, buddy, but I promise we'll have our fortnight tomorrow. Noah considered this, then nodded solemnly. Okay, but can Mrs. Chen read me 3 stories instead of 2? Patrick chuckled. We can ask her. After settling Noah with Mrs. Chen, who indeed agreed to 3 stories, Patrick rushed to get ready. He found his least wrinkled button-down shirt, a light blue one that Melissa had always said brought out his eyes, and a pair of khakis that still fit reasonably well. A quick check in the mirror revealed a man who looked more tired than his 32 years, with the beginnings of crow's feet around his eyes and a perpetual 5 o'clock shadow he didn't have time to shave. Good enough, he muttered, grabbing his keys and wallet. Osteria Matteo was one of those trendy Italian restaurants that had popped up downtown, the kind of place Patrick hadn't been to since before Noah was born. The maitre d' gave his outfit a once-over, but led him to Marcus's table without comment. Marcus, always the picture of success in his tailored suits and designer watches, stood to greet him with a bear hug. You made it, and only 10 minutes late. That's practically early for you these days. Traffic, Patrick explained, though in truth he'd spent those 10 minutes standing outside the restaurant, almost talking himself out of going in. Patrick, meet Greg from my office, Marcus said, gesturing to a well-dressed man who offered a firm handshake. And this is Sophia Greenfield, Greg's friend from college. Patrick turned to greet the woman sitting across from him and felt his breath catch. Sophia had dark hair that fell in soft waves around her shoulders, intelligent green eyes, and a smile that transformed her whole face when she offered it to him. Nice to meet you, Patrick, she said, extending her hand. Her voice was warm, with a slight huskiness that suggested she might have an interesting laugh. Likewise, Patrick managed, taking her hand briefly. Her handshake was firm, confident. As Patrick took his seat, he noticed Sophia was dressed simply but elegantly in a navy blue dress that looked like it cost more than his monthly rent. A delicate silver necklace was her only jewelry, but something about the way she carried herself suggested she didn't need adornments to command attention. Marcus tells me you're a teacher, Sophia said as the waiter poured water into Patrick's glass. Patrick nodded. High school English. Not nearly as exciting as whatever you all do at. He paused, realizing he didn't know where Sophia worked. I'm not with Marcus and Greg, Sophia clarified with a smile. I run my own business, consulting primarily. Sophia's being modest, Greg interjected. Her consulting involves restructuring multinational corporations and occasionally saving entire industries. Sophia rolled her eyes good-naturedly. Greg exaggerates. I just help companies become more efficient and make obscene amounts of money doing it, Marcus added with a wink. Patrick nodded, feeling immediately out of his depth. That sounds complex. It can be, Sophia agreed. But teaching teenagers to appreciate literature, that's the real challenge. I remember my high school English teacher, Mr. Barnett. He's the reason I read a book a week, even now. You read a book a week? Patrick asked, impressed despite himself. I barely have time to read the essays I assign. Sophia laughed, and Patrick was right. It was an interesting laugh, full-bodied and genuine. I make time, usually on planes or in the early morning. What are you teaching your students right now? The Great Gatsby, Patrick said, though I'm pretty sure half of them are just watching the movie instead. The book is better, Sophia said immediately, though I did appreciate Leonardo DiCaprio's portrayal. Everyone appreciates Leonardo DiCaprio, Marcus joked, earning laughs from around the table. The conversation flowed easily after that. Patrick found himself talking more than he had in months, drawn out by Sophia's genuine questions and attentive listening. She asked about his teaching philosophy, his favorite books, and eventually about Noah. He's 5, Patrick said, unable to keep the pride from his voice. Smart as a whip and way too energetic for his own good. Do you have a picture? Sophia asked. Patrick pulled out his phone, scrolling to a recent photo of Noah at the park. His face lit up with joy as he slid down a slide. This is from last weekend. Sophia's expression softened as she looked at the photo. He has your smile. Those dimples are going to be heartbreakers one day. Patrick felt a warmth in his chest that had nothing to do with the excellent wine they'd been drinking. That's what his kindergarten teacher says too. She claims the little girls already follow him around the playground. Starting his dating career early, Greg joked. God help me, Patrick groaned, but he was smiling. The waiter arrived with their trays. Patrick had ordered the simplest pasta dish on the menu, acutely aware of the prices. He noticed Sophia had chosen the same, though he doubted it was for budgetary reasons. So, Sophia, Marcus said between bites of his osso buco, how's the new project going, the one in Singapore? Sophia nodded, dabbing her lips with her napkin. It's coming along. We're in the final stages of due diligence. If all goes well, the acquisition should be completed by the end of the quarter. Acquisition? Patrick asked. My company is helping facilitate a merger between two technology firms, Sophia explained. It's been complicated. Sophia specializes in complicated, Greg said. That's why her clients pay her the big bucks. Patrick nodded, feeling the gap between their worlds widen. What would someone like Sophia, who restructured multinational corporations, find interesting about a high school teacher who could barely restructure his linen closet? But as the evening progressed, Patrick found himself forgetting about their different circumstances. Sophia asked about his students, sharing her own high school memories. She told him about a recent trip to Portugal, describing the coastal villages with such vivid detail that Patrick could almost smell the salt air. When she mentioned spending her childhood summers at a lake in Michigan, Patrick shared that he and Noah went camping at a similar lake every August. Noah caught his first fish last summer, Patrick said. He was so excited he nearly fell out of the canoe. My dad taught me to fish when I was about Noah's age, Sophia said, a nostalgic smile playing on her lips. He was a high school science teacher. Believed every child should understand nature firsthand. Was, Patrick asked gently, catching her use of past tense. He passed away 5 years ago, Sophia said, her smile turning sad. Heart attack, it was unexpected. I'm sorry, Patrick said sincerely. My wife, Melissa, passed away 3 years ago, cancer. The table fell quiet for a moment. I'm sorry about your wife, Sophia said softly. It must be difficult raising Noah alone, Patrick nodded. It is, but also rewarding in ways I never expected. He's the best thing in my life. Sophia's eyes held his for a moment longer than necessary, and Patrick felt something shift between them, a recognition, perhaps, of shared experience with loss, or maybe just the beginning of a connection. The dinner eventually wound down, with Marcus insisting on paying the bill despite Patrick's protests. As they stood outside the restaurant, Greg announced he was heading to a bar downtown and invited them all to join. I should get back to Noah, Patrick said, checking his watch. It was nearly 10 p.m. I'm going to pass too, Sophia said. Early flight tomorrow. Marcus gave Patrick a knowing look. Well, don't let me stop you two from sharing a cab or something. Patrick felt his face warm. I drove, actually. I have my car as well, Sophia said, then turned to Patrick. But I'd love to continue our conversation sometime. Maybe coffee. Patrick felt a flutter of surprise and something else, anticipation, perhaps. I'd like that. They exchanged phone numbers, and Patrick found himself smiling as he drove home, replaying moments of their conversation. It had been a long time since he'd connected with someone new, especially someone as intriguing as Sophia Greenfield. When he arrived home, Mrs. Chen reported that Noah had been perfect and had fallen asleep after 4 stories, not 3. Patrick thanked her profusely, slipping her the money Marcus had given him earlier, which she tried to refuse. Take it, Patrick insisted. You're a lifesaver. After Mrs. Chen left, Patrick checked on Noah, who was sprawled across his bed, one arm wrapped around his favorite stuffed dinosaur. Patrick gently adjusted the blanket over his son, feeling the familiar swell of love. His phone buzzed with a text message. It was from Sophia. I enjoyed meeting you tonight. Coffee this weekend. If Noah would like to join, I know a place with excellent hot chocolate and a small play area. Patrick smiled in the darkness of Noah's room. We'd both like that, he texted back. That Friday afternoon, Patrick found himself unusually nervous as he and Noah walked toward the bean counter, the coffee shop Sophia had suggested. Noah was excited because Patrick had mentioned hot chocolate and a play area, 2 of his favorite things. Is your friend nice? Noah asked as they approached the cafe. Yes, she is, Patrick said. Her name is Sophia and she's very interested in meeting you. Noah considered this. Does she like dinosaurs? I don't know, buddy. You'll have to ask her. Sophia was already waiting when they arrived, seated at a table near the small children's area in the back of the cafe. She wore jeans and a simple sweater, her hair pulled back in a casual ponytail. She looked different from the elegant woman at dinner, but equally beautiful. She stood when she saw them, her smile warm. Patrick, hi, and you must be Noah. Noah, suddenly shy, pressed against Patrick's leg. Noah, can you say hello to Miss Sophia? Patrick prompted gently. Hello, Noah mumbled, peering up at her. I'm very happy to meet you, Noah, Sophia said, crouching down to his level. Your dad told me you like dinosaurs. Is that true? Noah nodded, his shyness beginning to fade at the mention of his favorite subject. I have 17 dinosaurs at home. T-Rex is the biggest, but Triceratops is my favorite. That's a lot of dinosaurs, Sophia said, sounding genuinely impressed. I like Triceratops too. They're very brave with those 3 horns to protect themselves. Noah's eyes widened. You know about dinosaurs? A little, Sophia admitted. Maybe you could teach me more. Noah nodded eagerly, his shyness completely forgotten. I can show you my dinosaur book. It has pictures of all the dinosaurs and tells what they eat and how big they are. I'd love that, Sophia said, straightening up and meeting Patrick's eyes with a smile. They ordered coffee for the adults and hot chocolate with extra whipped cream for Noah and settled at their table. While Noah explored the play area, occasionally returning to sip his drink and report his discoveries, Patrick and Sophia talked. He's wonderful, Sophia said, watching Noah carefully arrange blocks into what appeared to be a dinosaur habitat. So bright and curious. He's my world, Patrick said simply. After Melissa died, focusing on him kept me sane. Sophia nodded, understanding. Loss has a way of clarifying what's important. Their conversation flowed naturally from there about books they loved, places they'd visited, and their respective childhoods. Patrick learned that Sophia had grown up in a small town in Michigan, the daughter of 2 teachers. She'd worked her way through college and business school, starting her consulting firm 10 years ago. And now you jet off to Singapore for acquisitions, Patrick said, not hiding his admiration. Sophia shrugged. The travel gets old, honestly. Hotel rooms all look the same after a while. Still sounds more exciting than grading papers on Friday nights, Patrick said with a self-deprecating smile. I don't know, Sophia said thoughtfully. There's something appealing about being rooted somewhere, making a difference in the same community every day. My dad used to say teaching was the most important job in the world because he was shaping the future, one student at a time. Patrick felt a rush of warmth at her words. Your dad sounds like a wise man. He was, Sophia said, her eyes soft with memory. He would have liked you. The afternoon stretched into early evening, and Patrick was surprised to find that 2 hours had passed. Noah had integrated himself into their conversation, bringing toys to show Sophia and asking her endless questions, which she answered with patience and genuine interest. When it was time to leave, Noah surprised both adults by asking Sophia, "Can you come to our house to see my dinosaurs?" Patrick started to apologize, but Sophia's eyes lit up. I'd love to see your dinosaur collection, Noah, if your dad says it's okay. Both Sophia and Noah turned expectant eyes to Patrick, who found himself smiling. How about tomorrow? We were planning to make homemade pizza for dinner. We could use another taste tester. Homemade pizza is my favorite, Sophia said. What time should I arrive? They settled on 5 p.m., and as Patrick and Noah walked home, Noah chattered excitedly about which dinosaurs he would show Sophia first. Patrick listened, his mind replaying moments from their afternoon, the way Sophia's eyes crinkled when she laughed, how attentively she listened to Noah's stories, the easy comfort he felt in her presence. It had been a long time since he'd invited anyone to their home. Even longer since he'd felt this kind of connection with someone new. It was both exhilarating and terrifying. The next day, Noah was up early, meticulously arranging his dinosaur collection on the coffee table. Patrick spent the morning cleaning their small apartment, suddenly seeing it through an outsider's eyes: the worn furniture, the faded curtains, the cracks in the kitchen tiles he'd been meaning to fix. "Do you think Sophia will like my dinosaurs?" Noah asked for the third time as Patrick prepared the pizza dough. "She'll love them," Patrick assured him. "Remember how she already knew about Triceratops?" Noah nodded solemnly. "She's smart." "Yes, she is," Patrick agreed, smiling at his son's assessment. At precisely 5 p.m., their doorbell rang. Noah raced to the door, bouncing with excitement while Patrick wiped his hands on a dish towel. Sophia stood in the hallway holding a small gift bag and a bottle of wine. She dressed casually again in jeans and a soft green sweater that matched her eyes. "I brought something for each of you," she said after greeting them. She handed the wine to Patrick and crouched to give the gift bag to Noah. "This is for my dinosaur expert." Noah tore into the bag, his eyes widening as he pulled out a book. "Dinosaurs," he exclaimed, examining the detailed encyclopedia of prehistoric creatures. "It has all the latest research," Sophia explained, "including some dinosaurs they've only recently discovered." Noah was already flipping through the pages, his expression rapt. "Thank you, Sophia. This is the best book ever." "You're welcome, Noah," she said, ruffling his hair affectionately. Patrick examined the wine, an expensive-looking Barolo. "You didn't have to bring anything." "I wanted to," Sophia said simply. "My mom always said never arrive empty-handed." "Well, thank you," Patrick said, leading her into their living room. "Sorry about the mess, we're still working on the concept of picking up toys." "This isn't messy," Sophia said, looking around with genuine interest. "It's lived in. There's a difference." Noah immediately began showing Sophia his dinosaur collection, explaining each one's characteristics in detail. Sophia listened with rapt attention, asking questions that delighted Noah with their specificity. Patrick watched them from the kitchen as he prepared the pizza toppings, feeling a strange sense of rightness seeing them together. Sophia fit naturally into their small home, her presence warming the space in a way he hadn't expected. When the pizza dough was ready, Patrick called them to the kitchen. Time for the artists to create their masterpieces. Noah climbed onto a chair at the counter, explaining to Sophia, "Daddy lets me put whatever I want on my side of the pizza." "That sounds like an excellent system," Sophia said, accepting the apron Patrick offered her. They worked side by side, Noah creating a face on his portion with pepperoni eyes and a bell pepper smile, while Sophia and Patrick opted for a more traditional approach. The kitchen filled with laughter and conversation, and Patrick found himself repeatedly glancing at Sophia the way she helped Noah reach the cheese, how she teased Patrick about his precise arrangement of toppings, the easy way she moved in his space. After dinner, they played a board game that Noah insisted Sophia would love, and then Patrick read Noah's bedtime story while Sophia listened from the edge of the bed. Noah insisted on the new dinosaur book, of course, and fell asleep halfway through a chapter about pterosaurs. Patrick carefully closed the book and tucked the blanket around his son, then motioned for Sophia to follow him back to the living room. "He's completely captivated by you," Patrick said, pouring them each another glass of wine. "I haven't seen him take to someone new so quickly before." Sophia smiled, accepting the glass. "The feeling is mutual. He's an amazing kid, Patrick. You're doing a wonderful job with him." "I'm trying," Patrick said, the simple praise warming him more than the wine. "It's not always easy." "The best things rarely are," Sophia said softly. They sat on the couch, talking as the night deepened outside. Patrick found himself sharing stories about Melissa, memories he usually kept close. Sophia listened, offering her own stories about her father, the science teacher who had inspired her love of learning. "He wanted me to be a teacher too," she admitted. "I think he was a little disappointed when I went into business." "But you've been successful," Patrick said. "Surely he was proud of that." Sophia nodded slowly. "He was. But he always reminded me that success isn't just about money or achievements. It's about making a difference, having meaningful connections." She looked directly at Patrick. "I think about that a lot lately." There was something in her tone that made Patrick's heart beat faster. "And what do you think about it?" "I think I've been successful in business, but maybe not in the things that matter most," she said honestly. My father left a legacy of students who still write to my mother about how he changed their lives. I restructure corporations. It's not exactly the same impact. You've got time, Patrick said gently, and from what I've seen, you're pretty good at making meaningful connections. He gestured between them, then in the direction of Noah's room. Sophia's smile was soft, vulnerable in a way he hadn't seen before. This has been the best weekend I've had in years. The admission hung between them, honest and hopeful. Patrick found himself leaning closer, drawn by something he couldn't quite name. For us too, he said quietly. When he kissed her, it felt both unexpected and inevitable. Her lips were soft against his, the kiss gentle and questioning. When they pulled apart, Sophia's eyes were bright with emotion. I should go, she said, though she made no move to leave. It's getting late. Patrick nodded, but he took her hand in his. Or you could stay a little longer. She did stay, and they talked well into the night, discovering more layers to each other with every passing hour. When she finally left, with promises to call the next day, Patrick stood in the doorway of his apartment watching her walk to the elevator, feeling like something significant had shifted in his life. Over the next few weeks, Sophia became a regular presence in their lives. She joined them for movie nights and trips to the park. She helped Noah with a school project about habitats, bringing materials from her office that transformed his shoebox diorama into a work of art that earned a prominent place in his classroom. Patrick learned more about her work, how she'd built her consulting firm from nothing, how she typically worked with companies in crisis, and how she was respected in the industry for her ethical approach to difficult business decisions. But he also learned that she was trying to scale back her travel, delegating more to her team so she could spend more time in one place. I'm tired of airports, she told him one evening as they sat on his balcony after Noah had gone to bed. I want something more grounded. Patrick understood what she wasn't saying, that something included him and Noah. Their relationship deepened naturally, without pressure. Patrick introduced her to his colleagues at a school function, and she invited him to a dinner with her closest friends. They fit into each other's worlds with surprising ease. It was Marcus who finally pointed out what Patrick had been trying not to notice. You know she's loaded, right? He said during their monthly beer night, about 3 months after Patrick and Sophia had met. Patrick frowned. She does well, yeah, Marcus laughed. Dude, doing well is having a nice 401k. Sophia Greenfield is worth 9 figures. Her company restructured half the Fortune 500 during the last recession. She's basically a financial superhero. Patrick's beer froze halfway to his lips. What are you talking about? You seriously don't know? Marcus looked genuinely surprised. Google her, man. Sophia Greenfield, founder of Greenfield Strategic Partners. She was on the cover of Business Week last year. Patrick had never thought to search for information about Sophia online. Their relationship had developed so naturally, based on shared experiences and genuine connection, that her professional life had seemed like just one aspect of who she was. That night, after Marcus dropped him home, Patrick did search her name. What he found left him stunned. Article after article detailed her business acumen, the billions her firm had saved failing companies, the innovative approaches she'd pioneered in corporate restructuring. Her estimated net worth made him dizzy. The woman who sat on his worn couch playing board games with his son, who helped with dishes and brought takeout when he was too tired to cook, was one of the most successful businesswomen in the country. He was still processing this information when his phone rang. It was Sophia. Hey, he answered, trying to sound normal. How was your meeting? Exhausting, she said, and he could hear the smile in her voice. But productive. Are we still on for the Science Museum with Noah tomorrow? Yes, Patrick said automatically. He's been talking about it all week. Great. I can't wait. There was a pause. Patrick, is everything okay? You sound strange. Patrick hesitated. Why didn't you tell me who you really are? There was silence on the other end. What do you mean? I just found out about your company, Sophia, about how successful you really are. Another pause. Does it matter? She asked quietly. The question made Patrick stop and think. Did it matter? The woman he had come to care deeply for, perhaps even love, was the same person she had always been. Her bank account didn't change who she was with him and Noah. No, he said finally. It doesn't change how I feel about you, but I'm wondering why you didn't tell me, he heard her sigh. When we met at that dinner, you treated me like a person, not a business contact or a potential investor. Do you know how rare that is for me? And then with Noah. The way you two welcomed me into your lives had nothing to do with what I've achieved professionally. It was just about who we are together. Patrick understood. In her world of high finance and corporate deals, genuine connections must be hard to find. I'm sorry, he said. I was just surprised. Are you angry? She asked, vulnerability clear in her voice. No, Patrick said honestly. A little intimidated, maybe, but not angry. Don't be intimidated, Sophia said softly. What I feel for you and Noah, it's more valuable to me than anything else in my life. The simple confession made Patrick's heart swell. We feel the same way. The next day at the Science Museum, watching Sophia and Noah examine a display about ocean currents, their heads bent together in identical expressions of concentration, Patrick realized something profound. The most valuable things in life couldn't be measured in dollars. They were measured in moments like these, in connections, in laughter, in the way Sophia's eyes lit up when Noah made a discovery, in the gentle touch of her hand when it found his. 6 months after they met, Patrick and Sophia stood together on the shore of the lake where she had spent her childhood summers. Noah ran ahead of them, searching for perfect skipping stones. I have something to ask you, Sophia said, her expression unusually nervous. Patrick turned to her, curious. What is it? She took a deep breath. My lease is up next month. I was thinking, well, hoping that maybe we could find a new place. Together, the three of us. Patrick's heart raced. Are you asking us to move in with you? I'm asking if we can make a home together, Sophia clarified. Not my place or your place, our place. Patrick looked at Noah, who had found a stone he liked and was attempting to skip it across the calm water. It splashed once and sank. He laughed and tried again. I love you, Patrick said, the words feeling right. And Noah adores you. Nothing would make us happier than making a home with you. Sophia's smile was radiant. I love you too, both of you, so much. They sealed the promise with a kiss, while Noah called for them to watch his next attempt at stone skipping. Hand in hand, they walked toward him, toward their future together. 1 year to the day after they met, Patrick proposed on the balcony of their new home, a comfortable house with a yard for Noah to play in, and a study where Patrick could grade papers. Sophia said yes, without hesitation. At their wedding 3 months later, Noah served as best man, proudly carrying the rings on a dinosaur-shaped pillow he had helped design. In his speech, Marcus couldn't resist mentioning how he'd known they were perfect for each other from that first dinner. To Patrick and Sophia, he toasted, raising his glass. Proof that the best things in life are unexpected. As they danced their first dance as husband and wife, Sophia whispered in Patrick's ear, Did you ever imagine that dinner would lead to this? Patrick pulled her closer. Not in my wildest dreams, but now I can't imagine any other path. 2 years later, their family grew with the birth of their daughter, Emma. Noah, now 8, took his role as big brother seriously, reading to her from his extensive collection of dinosaur books and promising to teach her everything he knew. On quiet evenings, when the children were asleep, Patrick and Sophia would sit on their porch, talking about their day and planning their future. She had restructured her company to require less travel, focusing on mentoring young businesswomen and serving on nonprofit boards. Patrick had been promoted to department head at his school, implementing innovative literature programs that engaged even the most reluctant readers. Their worlds had merged seamlessly, creating something stronger and more beautiful than either had imagined possible. And it had all begun with a chance meeting at a dinner, where a teacher and a businesswoman discovered that sometimes the heart recognizes its match long before the mind understands why, in the end, their story wasn't about wealth or status. It was about finding home in another person's heart, about building a life based on love, respect, and shared values. It was about a family forged not by circumstance, but by choice, every day choosing each other, choosing love, choosing happiness. And as their family continued to grow and thrive, Patrick and Sophia never forgot the wonder of their beginning, of how a simple dinner invitation had changed the course of their lives forever.